Just get started. Hey guys, today we're going to go over short sales and foreclosures. There's some stuff that everyone needs to know when a short sale and foreclosure is coming up. A lot of times people will say, hey, I'm looking for a great deal. You know, short sales and foreclosures or that. But if you guys are
like you had to do
into first, because they are truly nightmares when it comes to it. So I just want you guys to know, heads up, what to expect. That way you guys that way you guys know what you're getting into. So what is a short sale? This is from realtor.com. It says, let's break it down. Say you're selling a home, however the offer you get is so low it won't cover the total amount you owe your lender on your mortgage balance, but you need to unload it, so you'll take it. This is a short sale. Simply put it up, you short the lender. And that's normally what I tell all the people whenever they ask. You know, I'm saying it's not a short process because it's definitely a very long process. It can sometimes take up to a year, but you're shorting the bank on how much you owe them. And this right here is saying it's just about 5% of homes are short sales, and foreclosures right now are at its all-time low. So when people are saying we want a deal, there's really not many out there, especially when there's only less than 5% of short sales and foreclosures. So it says often homeowners are pushed to a short sale because of personal financial troubles, to where it's impossible to pay their mortgage. At the same time, they find it hard to sell at the price that they would pay off the loan. The biggest thing that I've seen is since people did buy in 2010, 2011, they bought at the peak of the market. And now when people are trying to sell now, you know, say they bought the house for $350,000. Well, the house is only worth $300,000 today, which is super unfortunate. And now they owe $340,000, or let's just say $320,000. You know, with closing costs, it's going to be right around $32,000. So really, they're going to be losing a lot of money on this. And short sales are very complex because they have to get approved by the bank. If the bank sees that you have enough money to keep paying, then they're going to say, no, you're fine. You can't do short sale. Just sell and pay the amount. And sometimes that's what they'll do. Foreclosures is definitely a different story. So then that's when we're going to go over here again from realtor.com. And we are going to look up what is the difference between a short sale and a foreclosure. So here, again, this is what I was talking about, a short sale. But what is a foreclosure? Foreclosure is when you stop making the payments on the mortgage. After 3 to 6 months of missing payments, your lender will file a notice of default. The foreclosure proceedings have begun, and now you're at risk of getting evicted. After you receive the notice of default, you'll enter into what's known as the pre-foreclosure period. That's kind of what you'll see on Zillow, the pre-foreclosure. Usually they're late on the payments, but on RPR, if you're a realtor, you can actually look it up if they've missed any mortgage payments in the past. And if they have to catch it up if they're going to try and sell. So the pre-foreclosure period can last anywhere from 30 to 120 days. Usually the lender is trying to work with you on just trying to pay some debt off. If you have a great lender and whoever is servicing it, they'll try and help you, but you have to do something about it. But if it's not resolved by the end of the foreclosure process, you're going to lose a house. And there you go. All right, I lost myself for some reason. Let's see. Let me go back to sharing my screen. There we go. Okay. So I don't know where you guys last heard. Let's see. The pre-foreclosure period can last from 30 to 20 days. Technically, in Virginia, the people can actually pay the amount owed right up until the foreclosure happens, which is pretty nice, but that is probably a 1 in a million chance it's going to happen. But what's the difference between a short sale and a foreclosure? Those short sales and foreclosures are both methods of resolving financial difficulties. Really, the timing in a short sale is a much longer process than foreclosures. In a foreclosure, the bank is intent on finding a way to recoup as much of their investment as possible. So they try to move very quick. With short sales, banks need to go through a lot of levels before they can actually move forward with the sale. So this right here even says short sales can take several months to a year to close. The very first short sale I was ever working on, I was working with a buyer, and we put an offer in, and in there you put in the contract how long you want to hear back from the bank. However, the bank makes their own rules. So we ended up waiting about 3 months to hear back from the bank if they accepted our contract. And then they came back and said, sorry, we want $30,000 more than list price. And in my opinion, that's just a huge bait and switch, because it was listed for, I think it was like 130. We negotiated down to 120. But then they come back and say, no, we want 170. And then I saw this house sit on the market for another 2 years after that. And then it got foreclosed. Then someone rehabbed it. And now it's actually a nice house. So it's actually pretty interesting watching the process of that house. But here's the financial impact that's pretty interesting. As a seller, your financial situation will be impacted negatively by a short sale or foreclosure. However, it varies a little bit. With a short sale, though your credit score could drop up to 150 points, you should be able to buy a new home right away if that's something you're interested in doing. After a foreclosure, you have to wait up to 5 years before you can buy again. And the foreclosure will stay on your record for 7 years. Now that's important because sometimes people want to buy a house right after they get a foreclosure. They got a foreclosure 3 years. They're gonna have to wait another 2 years before they can buy again. So it's imperative to ask them these questions if they've ever had a foreclosure. If what's the credit score like? If they're gonna take a 150-point hit because of a short sale, or just say if their credit score was 650 before, then they have a short sale go through. Now it's 500. Even though they could buy again, it's not going to happen because of that credit score. In a short sale, the seller is very involved in the sale process, and really short sales are kind of run by attorneys, so it's not much where the agent has to do too much. It's just a very long, tedious process with a lot of paperwork. And then not just that, you have to get approved for the short sale. So then there's hardships that you have to meet for to get a short sale. If the bank sees that you have enough money, they're not gonna approve it. If the bank sees that you're making your payments on time, they're not gonna approve it. Really, the hardships are like a loss of job to where you can't pay. Death is one. If I don't think military is one because usually they can still pay their payments and all that. And I had a whole book of short sales and foreclosures, but Jackie still has it. Jackie, but it's okay. This is still just good info to know. Just know with the short sale, when you're putting in an offer, what you really want to do is when you're looking on Matrix, you're going to go down to the very bottom. Let's just say we go to a random listing. Oh, awesome. We're going to go down to the very bottom and look for the agent remarks. And I'll show you an example of a short sale. That way you guys can actually see the difference of what it looks like. As soon as REIN would load, there we go. All right, so I'm specifically looking for short sales here. Whenever I'm doing a search, I usually take out short sales and government-owned bank repo if they say they want something moving ready. But we're going to look for short sales for today. There's 361 currently in our market for sale. Anything with a C here means it's under contract, but let's click on this one right here. I'm going to scroll down. I can see that the disclosure says this is short sale. And down here, I can see it's a short sale negotiated by Coleman & Coleman. Property is sold as is, where is, and then, oh, this is perfect. Listed price is bank approved price. That's fantastic. So if you're looking for a short sale, this is what you want to look for. If we go to the next short sale and then we don't see that, that means the bank hasn't approved the price just yet. And when the bank hasn't approved the price, that's when you're going to go through the process of what I did, where we wait for 3 months until the bank does approve it. So here it doesn't say anything at all about the bank approving it, which means the bank is still going to have to approve this price. Really, it's a number the listing agent threw out there. Hopefully they've done their due diligence trying to talk to the bank and attorneys on what they can list it for. Usually they don't. So if they don't, you're kind of just guessing on this price. You can put in a full price offer at 75K. banks still come back months later and say they want 100,000. But on this house right here, it says list price 115,000. As you can see, the original list price was 110,000, but it went up 5,000. So that means whoever was trying to go on this house before, it usually takes a guinea pig to find this out, which is never fun for that buyer who's the guinea pig. But to find it out, someone's got to go through the process. Once, just say they don't want it anymore because it's $5,000 higher. All right, they say, all right, I'm out. That listing agent knows what the bank wants now. That's when they're going to go down here and say list price is a bank approved price. And that's important because now you're going to have to put in 115,000. The bank will let it sit there for years and years on a foreclosure, at least until they get their price. On a short sale, it depends on the bank, but usually they're going to want 115,000 and it's not going to budge from there. So in this instance, just say this house sits for another year, seller is probably going to stop paying, then it's going to go into the foreclosure process, and that's usually how all of that works. So down here, if you're looking at short sales, you want to look for bank approved price because now the process can move a lot faster. It's still going to take a couple months, but compared to a year on this other listing that does not say that anywhere. So that's the main important stuff you want to look for. If we're going to look for foreclosures, you want to look for bank repo and government owns. So we're going to go to disclosure, we have bank repo, and then we go down to government owned. These are the two foreclosures that we're looking for. As you can see, there's actually a lot in our market at 241. That's that's not too many because we are at our all-time low, but it's still quite a bit. If we look on the map, we can kind of see a trend of where they are. And yeah, it makes sense. So they're a little more populated in some other areas, which is usually the case. But if we click on these, we're going to see the owner is corporate, and usually they have important stuff in the age remark, so you make sure you always read that. This one is Benham Real Estate, so they usually say how to do it. Now, if it's a Fannie Mae property, or let's see if there's one that says Fannie Mae. Okay, U.S. Bank National Association. They'll say exactly what they're offering. Champion Mortgage. Okay, here's a perfect example. So they'll say where to submit offers. So you have to go to this link. Fannie Mae will do the same exact thing. HUD does the same exact thing. Basically, you have to use their contracts to submit the offer. So it's a little different than what you're used to with REIN, but it's not too horrible. And most of them honestly are sold as is. This one right here is also an auction, which you will see. And something to look for with auctions and bank repos is this right here. It says with reserve. When it says it's with a reserve, that means that let's just say it's listed at 263, okay? Just say the reserve price is 270. If they don't hit that 270 mark, then it's not going to sell. Someone may win the bid, but they're not going to sell it to them. They're going to say, hey, our reserve is 270. Can you do this? And a lot of the times on that auction website, they're not going to show the reserve price. They want a bidding war to drive the price up way past this amount. And let's see if we can actually find this one. So this one is on hubzoo.com, and I'll show you a prime example of this. And there's something else important too when you're looking on an auction website, just say for an investor or something. But Hubzoo and all the other ones aren't the best. So let's type in this address here. Okay. So I'm on Hubzoo. This is where they're listing the auction. This is actually where you will bid for it as well. So here, I guess someone has won the bid, so it's under review, which is meaning if they didn't meet the reserve, then it'll go back up. But something interesting to look for is the fees that come with the auction. Hubzoo has to get paid somehow, so it's saying there's a buyer premium. It's either 5% of the bid amount, so you're adding on an extra 5% of whatever you bid, and then it says what the earnest money must be. And so it says the buyer must pay at bid approval. This one is saying the lesser of 3% or 15,000. So if this house was at 250, you know, it'd be around 7,500 bucks, not 15K. But this is the important part right here. The buyer is paying an extra 5% on buyer's premium at closing. So if the deal is beyond amazing and you even added on that 5%, then it's a good deal. But if it's not, or like just say if it's on the border of being a good deal, if you add that 5% in, sometimes that can kill it. And I just want to show you an example. Virginia Beach. Okay, so we'll just go to this one, 1528 Stewart's. And then this is going to show us what the current bid price is at. Once it loads, here we go. So it says the current highest bid is $220,500. It says there's 1 hour and 40 minutes left to bid on this. It says the next bid would be $2,000 higher. I can actually go back and view all the bids that have happened. I can see the first bid was at 186 a couple of days ago, and it's just driven up since then to 220. Now, something you can do is an auto bid, which this person had, but it's interesting to see all the stuff that they include on here. And then you can see the last time it was sold for $255 in 2016. Says this one is not in MLS. I want one that is in MLS because I could show you a pretty interesting thing that they do between Hubzu and REIN. But let's just see if it is in MLS. So 1528 Stewart's Way. No, not in there. So let's go back, and I want to see if we can actually find one just like we did in REIN, because if you are looking for auctions, this is a pretty good place to go to. Auction ended. All right, let's try this one. This looks like a nice place. Looks very nice. That doesn't look so bad at all. 3-bed, 3 full bath, built in 2016. About 2,000 square feet. This almost looks like an East Beach house. It says starting bid is $228. There's 1 day left to start the bidding. Don't forget about the 5% premium that you have to pay on it. It shows some of the other schools. It's kind of funny. All right, let's see if this is listed in that MLS of it. And it is. Perfect. So I'm going to go to Matrix, look up this MLS. And yep, this is East Beach. So something to look here. Check it out. This says starting bid is $228. I'm going to go back to Matrix. List price $338. Over $100,000 more listed in REIN, and this is what they're doing. Guaranteed, not guaranteed, but very close that their reserve price is that amount right there. The $338.9 compared to this $228, because $228 in East Beach is truly a steal, but it's never going to sell for that, and they are going to have a reserve. So let's go down. I wanted to see, yeah, see, you can even see it has a reserve been met. No, it'll let you know as soon as it's been met, but I guarantee this is the price right here. It's going to be $100,000 more. At least they have 11 photos right here. You can kind of see the inside of the East Beach home. Doesn't look too bad. And what's cool in the Adrian Marks, they tell you the code to actually get in, so you don't have to contact anyone. You can see the code, get in there, but they tell you how to present offers, how to do it. If you're an agent, you must register on the site. So it's good stuff to know. But here again, buyer premium 5%. So you pay 5% on top of, just say if it was this price at $338.9. So now we're going to go to the calculator. 338.9 times 0.05, and you'd be paying an extra $16,945 on top of the 338.9. And now the price you're actually paying is $355, and that's only if you won at the 338.9, which I bet the reserve price is that. because there's no way they're going to do this. Again, this is meant for people to have bidding wars, not for them selling at that price. So a lot of these are bait and switches. Like I was saying, the short sales are bait and switches. So when it comes to a lot of these properties, I tell my people to stay away unless it's truly, truly an amazing deal. But even those are mainly inside deals. So if you get an inside deal, that's great because you know the insides of it and it's probably a good deal. Hubzu, auction.com, short sales, you know, they're all kind of bait and switches. You know, the only ones that I really like are Fannie Mae and stuff like that because it shows the price it's at. Usually Fannie Mae will go in and fix houses up a little bit. HUD doesn't do anything to the homes, only sometimes. But then again, HUD usually wants that price. They're not going to negotiate. So those are all very tough to do. But did anyone have any questions on short sales or foreclosures right now? Okay, so I'm actually going to do a follow-up video because the short sale and foreclosure book I have reads exactly what hardships there are and other stuff. And then I could even go in specifics of what credit scores happen. So I'm going to do a follow-up video to this probably next week. So be on the lookout for that. If you guys had any questions, always feel free to reach out. And if you guys ever need anything, just let me know. And James, he was a pro at doing HUD for a long time here at Austin James. So if you ever had any questions with HUD, James would be the person to go to. He knows the ins and outs of that. So don't be afraid to reach out to James on that and me on both for short sales and foreclosures. So you guys need anything, take care.